Wow, welcome everyone to an altcoin Bible to remember. We had Bitcoin blast through 25,000 resistance. I was up last night looking at it, trading it, seeing where things sat, and it was very, very fascinating to see, as we thought might happen, the altcoins, once Bitcoin broke through that 25,000 and ran all the way to 26,000, altcoins just blitzed after that. Now, when we do have an aggressive movement like that, you have to be very, very careful and wait for the close the next day. And we're seeing that right now where Bitcoin has actually dropped beneath 25,000 again. This is pivotal, consequential resistance support level. We take 25,000, it's game on to the upside. We just don't know how high it can go. Likely next stop's 28,000 to 30,000. Keep that in mind. However, we have not done anything yet that we haven't done previously. We've been almost rejected so far from that $25,000 level, and we've pulled back. So just be very, very cautious. And a lot of the setups I'm going to show you today are really predicated on Bitcoin's continuation and closing above 25,000, which it looks like it's not going to do this morning. So just be very, very careful. Doesn't mean it won't happen tomorrow, but I think we need to be very cognizant of waiting for that weekly close, because the 200-week moving average, and look, I'll go into it now and just show you the consequential nature of this level. So look at that, the box at the top that we've just drawn there, all these levels we've just been crawling our way up, and now we're blasted into that area. This is not going to be easy to take, and it just hasn't been. 25,000 is almost its last bastion for the bears, that if they lose it, Bitcoin is going to shoot higher and be very, very aggressive. And that's when a lot of liquidity will come back in the market, because we know we're in a more bullish phase. But this just hasn't been beaten for a long while, but we've smashed through it again here. Look, it does feel like we will get continuation at some point, but whether it's now, I'm not sure, because 25,000, again, is so consequential. As the 200-week moving average, we just have a look here, we zoom in, and this chart might be a bit noisy, so I'll just try and break it down for you. You see this red line here, this is that 200-week moving average. It is so consequential going through Bitcoin cycles. When we're above it, we're in a much more positive frame of mind. We've never been beneath it for this amount of time, but it really looks like Bitcoin wants to finally break us back above. But we have still 5 days and 1 hour until this weekly candle closes, and we really want this to close above the 200-week moving average. Until we do, we have to just anticipate that we're going to be range bound in here. So you can get quite trapped. I'm sure a lot of people were buying into this candle that blasted up through 25,000 last night, buying the altcoin pumps, leveraging themselves up, thinking this is it. But you really can't do that, because the market makers and the shorters and the sellers will just come in and they just smash you all the way back down. And we're just not there in a bull market. So these kind of, run throughs, even in bull markets, you really want to be careful chasing pumps like that. You want to wait for the retest of support once we're back on top of it. So now that I've gone through that, I just wanted to, paint you that picture, because a lot of these altcoin setups, again, are very much dependent on Bitcoin continuing with its positive momentum. If it gets beaten back here and we have a strong sell-off from 24,800, or we hit 25,000 again and just get beaten back, altcoins are going to suffer. But right now, it looks like altcoins are really trying to run those highs again. So that's great to see. Yeah, there's definitely money to be made here. I'm on the 30-minute chart on Litecoin. I'm just watching the strength here just move up. I reckon we're going to get some resistance coming in here. But broadly, Litecoin is my one to watch this week, because we've got, and we've been talking about it so much, Litecoin has the halving narrative coming up in August this year. So it's going to see a lot of strength just come in. It just has historically, because the reward to miners is halved in August. So that's half the sell pressure that hits the market generally. And now Litecoin is really responding well out of this drop. So like Bitcoin, when it came back down to test its 200-day moving average, Litecoin did the exact same thing. This big drop, hit here, rallied super strongly up to this point. Now, Litecoin really wants to close above this level. And if it does, then, we're going up here, absolutely. But if it closes here, I can absolutely see us just be range bound, very much like a lot of other cryptos, until we maybe break through later in the week. But momentum indicators all look good to me. They're all pointing up, which is great on the daily, but it does not mean we can't have a pullback. And I'd almost suggest we will. We cannot close above, let's say, 86. So it's my one to watch. If you're looking for entries here, if you're looking for those longer term entries, and you don't want to pay top dollar up here, look at the Fibonacci retracement, just see where it comes here, confluent with those support levels. And I'd say 0.5 looks really, really nice. That's at around 77.50. So that kind of area is really, really good to look at on any pullback. You also could have bids in here, 0.32, so that's 38% retracement. exactly on the edge of this volume support at 80. So this looks to be highly defended right now, the $80 level. So these kind of areas, get very interested if we're definitely in that uptrend, which it looks like we are. So Bitcoin, again, fails here. It looks like it just wants to keep running towards 25,000. So that's a great sign. But again, we want to close above it. And I think we only have 14 minutes for that to happen. So do pay attention. If all these altcoins close under resistance, we're going to come back down, I think. So definitely one to watch in Litecoin. AGIX, what a move it's had. Now, this is my cherry ripe this week. And for the sole reason, yes, it looks really, really nice on what it's done, but also because ChatGPT are releasing a new iteration of their platform, and it's more advanced, et cetera, et cetera. So if we remember back when these AI tokens, absolutely blitzed at the beginning of the year, it was on the back of ChatGPT coming out and gaining tremendous traction and adoption. I see no difference here. AGIX has already had a run. So if you're looking at AI tokens, look for ones with really good setups. For me, AGIX looks pretty nice. It's had this huge consolidation area, had a beat back here on a second test of the high, couldn't even get there, had a massive drawdown. I think I got back down to the 0.786 from the high, which is great. And it's just had this beautiful sort of higher high, higher low structure, exactly what you can see in a nice trend, and then blitz through this huge support cluster. That is absolutely gorgeous. And now it's broken through, come back, and it's retesting on top of this support. So this to me looks pretty darn good for continuation. So well done, AGIX. But yeah, cherry ripe, I think that's absolutely on the cards this week. If you're looking for pullbacks, I suggest, waiting for runs back to these support clusters. But right now, it looks pretty, that's what I'm looking at. It looks very good for me if I was in a move. But I'd say, this quite clearly, these two peaks have been breached. So this one, rather, this hasn't been breached, but I'd say that this one, gets above that 0.55 level, it's going back to the highs. So that's where you can sort of gauge where it could go. Unfortunately, there isn't any previous data on AGIX that I can tell. Does it go back further? Let me just go out to the weekly. No, there might be more data on other exchanges, but I think it's a relatively newish crypto. It may have been around for a while, but on Binance is as far as it goes back. But this does look prime for continuation based on what I've just seen, and also the narrative drive, which is awesome. You really want those confluence of indicators. I mean, that just looks phenomenal. These momentum indicators, MACD looks like it's about to cross over. Stock RSI is turning up. RSI looks fantastic as well. So really happy with how this looks, and very much liking the cherry ripe nature of this. Now, also, I find drawing these boxes really, really helpful for you to visualize where liquidity zones lie. And when it breaks through with real conviction, that's when you have to pay attention. So again, the pullback here is probably, now I got that right. Yes. Yeah, so confluent with there, 0.236. Maybe you could get 0.382 on a pullback on this huge volume support. So they're the kind of areas you want to look at, but it's 44 cents and around 46 cents. So they're the kind of areas, look for a pullback to bounce higher. That's if Bitcoin has that pullback. I think this does. But then again, earlier in the year, Bitcoin was just holding steady, and then AI tokens were going absolutely ham. So again, cherry ripe, pretty confident on that one. Let's move over to my danger zone for this week. Now, I could have chosen a multitude of other cryptos that actually look reasonably good to the eye, to everyone, sort of layman coming in and looking at charts, where it's just green candle, green candle, green candle, and it's just running high, and you think, fantastic, this is just going to keep going. A bit similar to how Bitcoin looks, if I'm honest. How it's just, if we go to the daily, where are we there? Daily. And if you have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're thinking, oh, sweet, we're going to get another green candle here. It's just going to keep going up. That's a bit of a fallacy, because if you look where we are at, we're running into heavy resistance above, and we haven't been able to close above it. That's where I see a lot of cryptos, like Ethereum as well, which I'll quickly just touch on for everyone, and then I'll come back to APE. So Ethereum's a great example of this. If we just have a quick gander, hopefully this is the one I had it drawn. Yeah, this is the one I had it drawn. So you can see here, Ethereum to the layman looks incredibly bullish, how it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. But this horizontal resistance level, until we close above it, you cannot be bullish on it, because it is such a consequential level. We just have not been able to breach it. It'll fake out up here, another fake out there. Couldn't even get high up here. But, Ethereum does look good eventually. but you just can't FOMO into these positions. You want to wait for the break, come back, test support, and it just hasn't done that yet. So if we go back to, where are you? APE. I'm not going to find it now. There it is. Happy days. What is really obvious about this one, it hasn't even had really any positive action apart from this first candle here. But if you look back at how, and I'll just trade that across so we've got some. So you could argue that this is in a nice spot for an actual bounce because it's lagging the rest of the market. But if you just draw on over, Fibonacci retracement, you can see it's running into heavy resistance here. These wicks going up just have not been able to beat it down. And also this heavy support cluster above it, wick. All those white lines that I've got there indicate that that is an enormous resistance level and it just cannot beat it back. Bears are seriously in control here. It doesn't look great. RSI, all this is a bit ho-hum. It is pointing out, it could have a little bit of a run here, but this just looks weak here, and it just feels to me it was come back to $4 from where it is at the moment. It is kind of hard to pick cryptos that don't look fantastic just because they're all a rising tide lifts all ships. So that's what you have to keep in mind there. But I would absolutely, if you're looking into APE, I'd be looking at some of these support clusters below based on Fibonacci retracement levels. And then you really get more aggressive when it breaks these key resistance levels and flips them as support, similar to this. So if you have a fallback like that, you want to wait for that, then come back, retest the support cluster, and then go higher, pretty similar to that. But for now, this is a good example of a danger zone as I've seen. I showed you Ethereum as well, kind of the different looking charts. One like this looks really bad. Ethereum is another one that looks good to the eye, but it really isn't if certain criteria are not fulfilled. And again, that's how a lot of people get trapped, and you just want to very much manage your risk on how you play this volatility because not a lot of people are used to it. All right, guys, hope you have enjoyed this episode. I've had a blast as usual. Have a great day, and we'll catch you again next time. Bye.